the CISO and the IT team needs to own AI in a company. Don't give it to someone else. You need to own it. You don't manage the IT for the human. You have to manage for the role.
Welcome to Trust Issue by BEMO, the podcast where we go beyond checkbox compliance and get real about security. In every episode, we will break down what's happening in the world of CMMC, cybersecurity, and GRC, straight from the people building, auditing, and living it. Real conversation about real security.
All right. Today, we're going to be talking about AI security. So AI around or security around Microsoft 365 Copilots, Copilot Studio, ISO 42001, basically the sort of AI maturity framework for companies and kind of starting their AI journey and becoming more and more mature, and kind of what are the sort of 4 steps to AI maturity. So, Bruno, maybe you want to just get us started with what are sort of the 4 different phases and maybe talk about like what is BEMO's, BEMO's history with AI security.
And what I will preface it, I took a class at MIT and the professor told us that what before will take 10 years will take now 1 year. So everything goes a lot faster. So think from the word of AI now, 1 month pretty much equal 1 year. Okay. So even now, as I talk about AI and I will talk about the journey of BEMO, and again, if I think we really started last summer, so a year ago, not even 9 months ago, and it looks like it has been years, but it's just from the speed, and so it's kind of very interesting. So if I put myself as a CISO again, the first question was, do we deploy Copilot at BEMO? Like, would I see an ROI? At one point was just like, it was I feel like the beginning 9 months ago, and we were like, am I going to pay this $30 times, all the employees? Would I get my money back? Is it worth it? It's just, and we were like, let's bite the bullet. And, so first we just gave it to, 5 people, and they're like, wow, I was one of them, like, wow, I didn't realize what you could do with it. Then we gave it to the whole company. So as of last July, the whole company had Copilot. But again, part of it, what was interesting is when you go to the system, when you were looking at the backend, the system, you're like, wow, everyone was already using AI. You like it or not, people are using. They go on website, ChatGPT, they go, and we check remember in July, you had 38 AI system on BEMO that people will go to, all SaaS.
How could you tell? Were you using Microsoft MCAS? Like, what are you using?
Exactly. In MCAS, it will tell you will get, and you're like, oh shit, that ChatGPT, someone went to Claude, and very often it's even people using, at BEMO, we use HubSpot, and you have Breeze AI. You're just like,
Breeze AI within HubSpot.
So people don't even realize they use it. Yeah. Whoa. And it was like, oh shit, we have to block this right away. So the first thing we did is, we blocked every AI, and we just said, okay, we are only going to allow Copilot because from our perspective,
Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Right. Microsoft 365. Because from our perspective today, what I love with Microsoft 365 Copilot is I know when I put my data into it, it's not being used to train, So for that, I would have to buy ChatGPT Enterprise for the same thing or Cloud Enterprise. But if you have the free version of every AI, they use it to train. So we didn't want to block, because again, at the end, let's face it, I could say I block everything, and I'm sure people will go on their phone, on their tablet outside, and then will ask anyway. So it's like, why, kill myself on like, no. So we say, okay, we are going to control it. And every month we check because there is a new AI coming. So we create, and it's how we create our first offering from BEMO. Again, it's what we call shadow AI. So again, it's just block AI and decide as a leadership team, what do you want to allow? Okay?
Sure.
So control it. Sure. As it's so case. So this is our first.
So you're able to do this with Microsoft MCAS or data loss prevention, so like DLP policies.
Yes, exactly. So this is the first thing you do. Then the second time, what we did again, we deployed Copilot. So again, same thing for Copilot is, You have to make sure before you deploy it, that your data you're secure, your SharePoint has the right permission, that you have the right label on your document. Just how do we make sure? Because otherwise, you can take Copilot. What is the salary of Joe? If he's on a SharePoint that is open, he's going to go find information and he will give it back to you. So there is a lot of things that you should deploy before you deploy Copilot. And I always feel like Microsoft, Google, or all the vendors, they try to make it very easy. Just buy my subscription and you are good to go.
Yeah,
they are right. You are good to go.
I mean,
But,
it's kind of like the GRC platform saying all you have to do is buy a GRC platform and you'll become SOC 2 overnight.
Exactly.
Right?
You'll be compliant. You'll be compliant. Turn it on and you're compliant.
Yeah.
It's not true. So here is the same. And the difference is, I see with our clients before they didn't really care. They cared about SharePoint, permission, but they will never go back.
Yeah. Microsoft Purview seemed to always be like maybe the stepchild of the Microsoft family where people didn't really understand or really care about Microsoft Purview. Right?
We see it with our customer. As soon as we wanted to deploy Purview, many of them know, I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming the first one you will deploy. So again, this from a Copilot. So again, from a BEMO perspective, what we did, I remember it, September, October, November, December, the whole company took classes. So once from our side, I remember for first month was a Copilot class. So basic class on Copilot. The second month was prompting. The third one was, build your first agent. So kind of how as a company, we, start to learn it together. And, and we are now at, the phase 3, which means, now everyone use Copilot a lot. And now we have deploying our own agent.
Okay. Interesting. Well, maybe before you go into talking about agents, let's stop at stage 2, which is deploying essentially, safely and securely deploying Copilot for everybody within your organization, at least specifically Microsoft 365 Copilot. But, what are sort of the prerequisites that you recommend organizations take before simply assigning a license to everybody?
Oh, yeah. So again, the first thing, now Microsoft, go again, first thing, your SharePoint, go check your SharePoint permissions. Are you sure that the person, no one outside of finance can go see finance? So again, you decide who should have access to what. Okay. So this way. So go check that. Will you be surprised how many people have shared file or stuff outside? The permission is still open, and it's just like, okay, go fix it. The second is identify again when we deploy what we call document protection. Okay. Which document are sensitive in your organization? Which one, is just, so it's
right. So this is the Microsoft Purview's ability to essentially identify, classify, and label your documents. So, for example, within Microsoft Purview, let's say you're a healthcare company, you could identify, okay, of the 1 million files we have, Microsoft can immediately identify which of those 1 million files has PII on it. Let's say Microsoft find all the documents that have social security numbers on it. So now you've identified it. Second is, how do you want to classify that and what type of labeling do you want to put on that? Do you want to add a sensitivity label automatically and have it only people within a certain SharePoint or M365 group have access to that? Do you want to just automatically encrypt or whatever? So you're saying that you should have a good understanding of all the different types of information or files that you have within your SharePoint in OneDrive.
Then the third thing that we saw internally, our CFO, again, CFO is spend his life in Excel, creating number, doing calculations. So he has multiple versions on the finance SharePoint. Okay. So
this is very classic in finance. You have financial model V1.12, V1.14, model B, model C, right? Yes.
But the problem is Copilot, you ask the questions. If you are not careful, he's going to look at a draft one.
Right.
And you're going to
with my cash on hand. Well, my cash on hand from which version of what model? My actual my actual balance sheet and actual P&L, or all the 15 different models that I have that are drafted.
Exactly.
Right.
So we had to come up with a process of no. Copilot, when we ask those questions, you can only go to the document label, approve for that, So
essentially final versions and not works in progress.
Exactly. Okay. Because otherwise, in finance. So again, it's also, you have to prep all that. Otherwise, when I say garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I think it's, so once you have that, then go deploy it and start small, see how,
Right.
But,
you're saying start with some power users or maybe some people in IT and maybe the C-suite. And once you've done beyond that, you can go try to deploy.
And monitor and audit. So again, from an IT, but monitor and audit, again, you have a lot of reporting now. You can see how is it used? What do people do? What do people do? So again, don't, so start and you see, yes, it's being used correctly, not correctly. It's, the advantage of that from what we deploy, because we have deployed purview into it. Same thing. You can try, someone is a good trick, take someone who doesn't have access to finance and have that person ask question about, finance and see if you get a return. If you get a return, something is wrong. So again, I have a lot of testing. So again, it's
all right. So we have phase one, which is essentially the shadow AI. Use, your abilities within Microsoft DLP and MCAS to be able to identify which AI solutions you want to approve as an IT organization and block the others. And then once you have the ones that are approved, then go do your work within, within SharePoint, Purview to be able to apply automatically sensitivity labels across the entire organization so that the people using Microsoft 365 Copilot only have access to the things they should have access to. Okay, great. Now we're on to phase three. What's phase three?
Phase three is now, and if I look at BEMO now, we have a 65 agent running. So it went back to one person created one agent, two agent, went through the training, and now people are developing agents. So now you're entering in a new world of, okay, what do you allow, not allow? Again, can the agent make decision on your behalf or not? And so it's, again, now I look at it is to treat your agent as a human. We have access for human and you have access for agent, but it's the same thing. The same as for human, what you want that role to do and not to do. So I'm someone in HR as a human. You have access to XYZ, but you're not allowed to talk about XYZ. Same thing with the agents, because again, what we have seen, you see some hack right now is someone go to a chatbot run by AI and people start at this question to the chatbot and they are getting all the information from the company because the chatbot is connected to the company, but they didn't put a safeguard. And now it's just like, you can just ask anything. So again, from that is...
So what is Microsoft doing to essentially apply what is essentially identity and access management policies to AI agents?
Exactly. So again, there's now Agent 365 and Agentic, and Entra, it is the same thing. So they treat the same as a human. You have every agent has his own identity. They ask what they can do, what they cannot do. So it's the same,
what level of access it has or privileges across the tenants.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So BEMO, we even took it to a different level where our agents, so it's very funny. From the human at BEMO, we have levels from 1 to 11. So 1 is, you are a trainee and you go up. We have applied the same model to
you're talking about like HR levels, like
HR level, sorry.
Like level 1 being an intern to level 11 being the CEO.
Yes. So you go there. We have applied the same thing with the agent. So our level 1, is kind of thing of the trainee. This is, he can only read, he can only do, only one thing at a time. So it's kind of your first level. And then he goes through different levels. So, and after that, we have the level for orchestrator. So same thing at BEMO, you can be level 1, IC 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you can be a manager 4, 5, 6. What we have for the agent is we have the same concept of, instead of the agent and the manager is an orchestrator. So it's one agent that can manage multiple agents. Okay. So again, when you go at that level is, what do you allow not to do? Do you allow read and write? Do you allow read, write, delete? So for example, at BEMO, we made the decision, no agent can ever delete. Only a human can delete. And it's the same thing of, we are tying to the level of an agent. If an agent is level 5 or 6, a lot of power, I'm not going to have a trainee manage this agent. No, it has to be someone in my company that understand the impact of the agent and how it works.
So what you're saying is now you have to what you're essentially BEMO's policy or your policy within your AI policy is that a human IC4 can only manage or create agents that have up to the equivalent IC4 power within the company. So essentially the idea is that like if you're the CEO or the C-suite, your agents will have more capabilities than the agents elsewhere within the company because it also comes with more privileges.
Yeah, so I will. So at BEMO, now our HR person, senior director of people and digital worker. Okay. So manage both. Again, there's policies for the human and the agent. Okay. So again, is how do we manage now on an org chart? You will have someone, an employee, IC4, and he may be an individual contributor, but he may be managing 3 agents. He is responsible for what the agent can do for the testing. At the end, he's accountable for that agent. Okay. So it's the same as, if he was managing people, he's managing agent. And he has to understand how the agent work, what can, because, you don't want the agent to...
What are some of the agents that you're using at BEMO?
Also, for example, so we have the simple one, for example, that will automatic for the support, will automatically have the queue, will go through the queue, okay, and will automatically send an alert when the SLA is within the limit, or like, hey, if we don't act now, so you automatically
you're going to fail the SLA from a.
The other thing is, so it goes to a group, it's sent, hey, be careful. Huh?
Right. It's like a Teams notification.
It's a team notification, but again, it goes, it's live and it goes back, So okay, this is again, you have
it's essentially a simple workflow.
Yes, you have a workflow. You have one that I manage at BEMO. We call it the CISO agent. So again, what it does for the BEMO perspective is every month, the first day of the month, I automatically get about 60 reports created live. So all my Entra ID, all my Entra log, my purview, F60. And then the agent will automatically go through all those millions of lines, and what is very cool is able to now analyze all the file together and be able to give me, this is the status of BEMO today on IT perspective. This is where I see there is an issue, so it goes through, I get my report, and it can automatically create tickets to make sure we address it.
So essentially, let me think if I understand this correctly. So within the millions of different Microsoft portals, right? Entra portal into, Defender, all that stuff. Sentinel. Essentially, each of them have reports. You might have in Entra, you might have things like risky sign-in reports. Within Defender, you might have device compliance types reports. And so what you're saying is you found a way to take these 60 different reports.
So I have an agent that go get the report. Report.
Okay, you have an agent that simply just aggregates all the reports.
Go gets all the report.
Okay.
Save it internally, so I have from a compliance perspective, I can show every month.
So it saves it within SharePoint or something.
Yeah. So and then we'll save in SharePoint,
and then you have another agents that essentially it takes all the different 60 security reports and tries to make sense of them comprehensively.
Yes.
Across the board.
It runs for 45 minutes on average, to run again. And you get a report from a CISO, and with our security team, we review that.
And so what you're saying is that then what this agent will do is if it finds any anomalies or events that need to be actioned, it will go create a ticket within Zendesk and assign it to the correct person within BEMO to go review it.
Exactly. So it
Wow.
goes through a cab. So the way I look from a security at BEMO is we have our SOC teams or security operations center that think of them as they are trying to make sure no one try to come in now. This is what
Reactive.
we do. They are live every day.
It's a SOC team is inherently reactive to what is happening today on
Now.
the tenant. Okay.
Versus now my agent here is checking my entire system every month to make sure that, my security level keep going up. The higher this, the less issue is being found month after month using real, month data. So it's kind of how we move up the food chain and so, which was impossible for me to do before. I can tell you it was impossible because before I would have to manually go to get those reports one by one. It was no way to take all those signals. I don't have them. We don't have the,
Yeah, there's no, right. Previously, it would probably take an analyst the time, hours and hours just to collect the report. And then you had to somehow make sense of it. And from my understanding, this is probably kind of let's call it Azure Sentinel logs, where there's a ton of rows and you're like, is this even important? Right. And so now you simply have the bandwidth to make sense of it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So
wow.
Again, this is
that's just phase 3. I feel like things really got complicated from phase 2 to phase 3.
Yeah, we are going to. So again, if I think in Copilot, the whole company is running Copilot on phase 2. In phase 3, not everyone is going to be an AI developer or an agent developer. It's just, again, so some people will submit ideas of what they would like to see. And some are very passionate and will go develop. And from a business perspective is also, again, from my learning of, last 9 months is try to go after what you need from a business perspective, not just do an agent for an agent and, don't have, so, but comes the entire review. So we have this process. You create an agent, is being reviewed by a team. What does this agent do? And we have a monthly review of all agent.
Okay. So let's call it agent lifecycle management.
Yes, it's exactly.
Wow.
We have an agent lifecycle management. And, the more complex your agent is, the more you have to show that, you are doing due diligence, you are reviewing what's being done, you are reviewing the answer. Again, it's just, don't trust, we all have used the Copilot and you believe
who's responsible for that though? Is it each person who is responsible for their own agent is required to do the auditing of their own agent?
Exactly. So it's why, again, it forces a business, you're not going to allow 500 agents because it's depending on the size of the company, but for the size of BEMO, it would be possible to manage. So again, you just want to make sure it forces you to I have the right agent for the business, and it's why I am keeping them. And some business, some agent, after 2 quarters, we kill it. It didn't work. It didn't,
It seems like it's very similar to kind of this concept of, when you think about files, everybody creates files all the time, right? Everybody's putting stuff in their OneDrive all the time. And essentially what you're doing is you are, more or less doing the SharePoint lifecycle management, but now for agents, which is all right, guys, this is duplicative. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't actually work. It's kind of useless. Let's just go delete. This is a in progress project, but what was this for? Okay, I see.
But so it's where, for me, there's a big step between, in our case, option 2 and option 3. Once you go to an agent, you are going to, and after it depends on the agent for internal facing only or internal or external. Okay. Because the way I feel like is the same thing, with Microsoft, there's a risk insider for agents. So if you are a human.
Insider risk for agents?
Yes. Because it works the same. The difference is as a human, I will get an alert when someone, will download 100 files versus before will only an hour. So from a human, you're I could download a file, but an agent can download thousands of files. So the problem is the impact the good and the bad. So you can do from my
Right. It's kind of like, it's kind of interesting. So for people listening, Microsoft Insider Risk Management is essentially a tool within Microsoft 365 E5. Is it under Purview technically?
Purview, yeah.
It's under Purview, yeah. Where basically the idea is to kind of like stop, catch people from stealing from the organization. So think of it like maybe you have a disgruntled employee and they're thinking about quitting, right? And right before they want to quit, they're going to try to download their entire OneDrive and try to take it with them to the next company or whatever. Microsoft has tools in place to be able to identify that behavior and immediately block it, and then also identify IT. So the idea is that, obviously corporate data doesn't get leaked or stolen by, traditionally people who are being offboarded, right? And so it's kind of interesting where maybe you had, say up until now, you had these insider risk policies that would prevent humans from downloading a lot of stuff. But what would stop a human from simply creating an agent to have an agent steal everything? Exactly. That wasn't me, it was the agent, Yeah.
Okay. So again, so it's just so you have to treat the same as an IT team will look at the logs to make sure nothing. It's the same with the agent.
Right.
It's just the problem it goes 10 times faster than you.
Especially since the agent it simply amplifies
exactly
everything that the human could have been able to do.
They amplify the good, but they amplify the worst.
Bad. Yeah. Okay, well, how does insider risk even work for agents? Is it in the same way that it works for the human side?
Same. So, for example, today, on Alert, you will get, so it's the same as my, for the insider risk for humans. 95% of them are false alerts. Again, it goes back. That person had a good reason, like, very often, Brian we say, Brandon downloaded too many files. You look, yes, what he did was legit. So you ignore it, you check, it's correct. So same thing with the agent right now. Again, you are still learning, and sometimes we'll say, hey, that person entered, try to paste information within Copilot. Okay, try to paste. So because you take a document, and the document was for BEMO, put it as confidential, and the person pastes confidential information. Poof, you get an alert, and you're like, that person could do it. So again, you tweak how it's configured again. So it's part of it, but it's kind of the same concept, So same with the agent. So same again. It's at the end there is not. We treat human agent the same.
So who do you think is going to be responsible for what sounds like new responsibilities, and that sounds like additional workload for IT teams? Who's in charge of that? Like, is the IT team responsible for that?
It would be,
security?
I think for me, the CISO and the IT team needs to own AI in a company. I think they need to own it. They need to, don't give it to someone else. You need to own it, because
don't give each department. So what you're saying is, don't give each department head, like sales shouldn't be in charge of sales AI and operations in charge of operations AI. Okay.
Yeah. For me, again, you manage the IT for the human. You have to manage for the whole. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So that's all, stage 3 of AI maturity and AI security maturity. What is stage 4?
So stage 4 is pretty much, again, you want to be ISO 4201. So again, ISO 4201 is for
42001.
42001. 42001. So again, this is pretty new. I think it's 2 years old. From a compliance perspective, again, it's making sure that, again, a third party auditor will come and check that, do you have all the process, again, to manage your privacy, everything that you do in stage 3 is someone checking that you are doing it correctly.
So let's call it what you would normally have to do for CMMC or ISO 27001 or SOC 2. You bring an external auditor to verify that you have the governance, lifecycle management, all the rules, identity access management, all that stuff.
So we are right now in that step, in the process, So again, but at the end, because we have all step done as part of our step 3, it's pretty much now is, so if we didn't care about compliance, we will be okay. We'll be running okay. Now it's because, again, we want to show the world when people say, how do you manage, you have AI at BEMO? How do you manage it? How do you, this is how. Yeah.
Tell me more. I see, you've got this screenshot, and we'll try to share the screenshot with, in the show notes, or, have our producers, add this screenshot to it, into the YouTube video as well. Tell me more about this, risk and ethics mapping. I see the two parts on here about the ISO 42001 happen to be the continuous compliance monitoring as well as the risk and ethics mapping.
Yeah. So again, it's the same as for any compliance, ISO, CMMC. It's all a game of, so if one of the risks is, have you checked, can someone, I will say, pollute your data? Can someone, again, I go to a chatbot, let's imagine I have done an agent, public facing. Can the person, best talking to my agent steal data from my company? So it's just, again, so you have to do your risk assessment. How do you manage? How do you mitigate? Also, it's the same as, any process. So same thing for privacy. Hey, I don't want to go on the chat and, hey, tell me about Brandon XYZ and the thing. Yeah.
Do you think that this is going to be like a popular framework that's going to be, let's say, let's call it SOC 2 and HIPAA or something?
I will tell you, me at BEMO today. So from a CISO, everyone wants to sell me tools, and everyone sells tools. They are all AI tools. Everyone now it's all
everything's AI tool. SaaS is dead, quote unquote. Everything's AI.
Yeah. So from our perspective now, the requirement we ask is you have to be 42001. If you have 42001, you will have a chance to come in. If you are not, you have a long test of a document you have to give us.
Sure. You're going to get a 300-page security questionnaire, essentially.
Just to make sure again, we are. Yeah. And,
but I would imagine that, this seems even newer, or I don't know if less popular is the right word, but, how many organizations are even going to have this framework?
If I had to do my bet in BEMO, we do SOC 2, ISO, CMC. I believe in a year from now, this will be our number one framework. I believe we are the speed of AI. Like anything, it's just like 2 years ago, didn't exist. Agent, a year and a half ago, you weren't even talking about it. And now it's all, So I think, again, this is part of, let's wait for 2 or 3 big breaches that will make the news, make the news.
Sure, that'll hit the news, and it'll all be about how, someone, stole all the private information of some hospital or bank, right?
And then people will start, the same thing as why framework get created. They all get created because at one point something went bad. And to be honest, again, it goes back. Me being the CISO of BEMO, we don't deploy framework internally for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But for me, again, not fun. But for me, I feel very good. Again, security first. I feel very good that a third party will come to BEMO and audit us. For me, it's they audit and they come back either, this is the issue we found, or shit, wow, yeah, this is not good. Let's go fix it. Oh, no, you're all clean. Good. I think for me, it's kind of like, it's like, you're supposed to do your annual checkup. You go to the doctor and you hope he will tell you you're all good. And if not, you have time to
go fix things before they become a long-term.
So it's kind of, how I see it versus some people, I think this is what I am. People say, I want my checkbox. I need the certificate. I don't care about security. I don't care. So, and I think,
Yeah. For this particular framework, CMMC level 2 being challenging versus SOC 2 being less challenging, where along the spectrum does an ISO 42001 land for you?
I will tell you once we are done, because we'll be in the middle of it. But I think for me today, the lowest is SOC. After I will put ISO 2701. And again, the security of ISO 4201 is a security of 2701. So it's 2701 plus AI on top for 4201. Okay. So I would put them in the middle, and CMMC being above, kind of our.
Okay. Well, I feel like ISO 27001 is kind of like the comprehensive standard, right? So essentially ISO 20. So if you're already ISO 27001, you're saying 42001 should be an easy step for you, or no?
Yeah, for us, it's because again, we still have to maintain it. So again, you have your annual audit, and so from our perspective where we are, for security, we're already there. So what we have left is all about the governance of AI, privacy of AI. So this is part, but from a security perspective, we already have it.
Mm-hmm. And so what you're saying is within BEMO, the CISO group, so essentially, let's call it the security engineer, IT manager, they're responsible for this type of work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, very good.
And at BEMO, again, you have same thing. You have kind of two team also two. So we have monthly, what we call a CAB review. So again, any big CAB, change advisory board.
Change advisory board. Oh, yes. That's a ISO 27001 thing, isn't it?
Oh, you're supposed to do it. If you look at SOC, you're supposed to review. Again, it's not as, again, so the way, again, we look at it is, again, any big IT changes has to first be reviewed by the team, by security team and business owner to say, yes, we can do that. And you go there. We do the same for AI. So it's just now we have this AI advisory board that again reviewed how every single agent is doing and how it is. So it's kind of how the process of,
Very cool. All right. Well, there you have it. So you got your 4 phases of AI security. The first one is really all the shadow AI. Obviously, everybody across any organization is using AI these days. But the question is IT actually aware of it? Are they paying for the tool? Is it an enterprise approved vendor? So the first step is go identify those things. Remove all the ones that are, should be blocked, and make your list of enterprise approved AI solutions, whether that's, Cursor or Microsoft or Claude, whichever ones. Then step 2 is do the work to get prepared for your Microsoft 365 Copilot or the Copilots in general, right? Do the document and cleanup, do all the access management. And then step 3 is agents. This seems like it's a huge step along the maturity curve, and is going to be more challenging, probably the first really challenging phase for people, where it's all the agent lifecycle management and governance, and conditional access to the agents themselves. And seems like there's a lot of design decisions within the C-suite to decide who should access what level or how powerful of agents. And then the last is ISO 42001, which is essentially you're bringing in an external auditor to validate all the things that you've done in phase 3 and give the final stamp of approval that this organization is correctly using AI and kind of safely, right?
One comment to finish, I will say, because I hear that, so yesterday we had a meeting with one of our customers, and we were talking about the option 1. Say, hey, do you say, me and my company, we know no one use AI. So so we kind of right. Okay, are you willing to do a live check? Yes,
a live check. Yeah.
So we went, of course, we checked. So he was surprised. It was in his case 17 AI in his environment, and then we were able to show him that people pasted some of his document inside. Yeah. So not only they were using it, but they were putting company's document pasted inside. The person became livid on the screen, that's it. So it was sad on one side because he was honestly truly believing, no, we discuss internally, no one uses.
I feel like it's almost like the first rule of CISP and the CIA triad. That's don't trust humans. If they can do it, they will.
and then Savini. I will go back now. Don't trust human and don't trust agent.
Yes. Yeah.
So kind of
zero trust, right?
Zero trust. So all the way. So.
Yeah. Wow. That is really crazy. Well, man, sounds like we need to start doing AI security audits for everybody.
Yes. Oh yeah. This is we would win a contract all the time just by showing that,
All right. Well, that's good for today.
Oh, thank you.
That is another episode of Trust Issue. In this conversation, help you think differently about compliance, security, or trust. Share it to help someone who is still stuck in a checkbox mode. Each week, we will keep bringing you more episodes, resources, and real-world insight from the BEMO team. Wherever you are listening from, don't forget to rate the podcast and follow us to stay up to date on the latest development in the GRC space. Remember, compliance gets you certified, but real security, that earns trust. Thank you for listening.